It's my birthday. Hello guys, welcome. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I mean, I already did the book shopping, but I am so excited. I just went on quite the book shopping spree. My mom came along with me. I just went to 3 different Barnes & Nobles. I have 4 Barnes & Nobles within like 15-minute drives of me. One is literally like 3 minutes away. I did make some purchases. I am so excited to talk to you guys about these books. Also, wait. I have to thank you guys for the reception on my last video. I have no words. I have literally no words. I'm just so happy. And I'd like to thank all of you guys for watching that video and subscribing. I've gained like over 300 subscribers since that video. Like, it's so crazy that there were so many more people like looking at my channel, and I'm so grateful to every single one of you. Like, it is amazing, and all of the comments have been so sweet. Like, literally every single one I see, I'm like, ooh. I just want you guys to know that I really have so many videos planned. Like, I have so many ideas jumping around in this head. This past weekend and that video and the amount of people coming to look at my channel now has been like the best birthday present I could have asked for, honestly. None of you guys knew it was a birthday present, but it is now. Let's just get into the books. Before we get into the books that I just bought, I do have two books to show off that I acquired earlier, but they were a birthday present, so I want to show them off. A bit over a week ago, I was in Tennessee. I did have a little vlog for it. It's a cute one. And I went to a bookstore because whenever I'm in somewhere new, I have to go to a bookstore. Like, it's literally like anytime I'm in a new place, immediately going to the Maps app and looking up bookstore nearby. So I went to a Books A Million, and my cousin's girlfriend so graciously and so sweetly bought me 2 books. The first one is The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. This is the first in a grim, dark, adult fantasy series or trilogy. I think there's like a connected trilogy to it. I picked this book up one day in Barnes & Noble and read the first like prologue little bit, and I was immediately like, whoa. I was like very sucked in. It felt so easy to read and to fall into Joe Abercrombie's writing. So I was looking at it, talking about how I'm interested in reading it, and she like grabbed it for me and was like, I'm buying it for you. So thank you, Megan. I love you. I did actually start it. I am enjoying it, but I think it'll just be like a slow, like, for me, like a slow like read. Like, I don't want to try to like binge through it. I just want to really read through it and understand the plot and the world that Joe Abercrombie builds. I think the characters so far are really good and really interesting. I'm really loving his writing so far. It's really witty and really propelling. And then the other book she got me is up there. This is The Will of the Many by James Islington, or Islington, I don't know. I've heard it pronounced both ways. This is the first book in a new, also like high adult fantasy trilogy. I don't know too much about the plot. I've heard so many good things about this book, but I should be reading it soon. My cousin Brittany has read this book and she loved it, and my cousin's girlfriend, Megan, has also read it. This was my first time seeing it in a bookstore, so Megan bought it for me because she and my cousin like both loved it. I'm just gonna like explain that Brittany and Megan are not the girlfriends. They're not the ones in the relationship, just because it may sound like that. This, all I know is that it's like a Roman like empire. It's a Roman inspired fantasy world set at an academy. And that already sounds interesting to me. I don't know much about like Roman Empire things, so I don't know that I will understand that, but it just sounds really interesting. The text is tiny, so it is a little bit intimidating, but it is a challenge that I want to take on, and I've just heard amazing things about it. Okay, now into the books that I just bought today. Let's start with the new releases because today's my birthday, obviously, but this video is either going up today or tomorrow, Wednesday. So it's Tuesday, June 11th right now, my birthday, and Tuesday is book release day. So I actually had books come out on my birthday, which is like crazy. Like obviously it's not that crazy, like it's not a crazy concept, but it's just so fun that books come out on my birthday. So the first Barnes & Noble that I went to, I bought a couple books. And one of the first ones that I picked up was Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood, her new release that just came out on my birthday. Look at this cover. I did not know it would be like this shiny cover. I don't know if this is like the Barnes & Noble exclusive look. I don't know that I love it. I might have preferred like the flat cover, but this is Ali Hazelwood's new release. I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little nervous for this book. So I loved Love Theoretically, liked The Love Hypothesis, haven't read Love on the Brain. I really liked Bride as well. So when I saw that she was coming out with another book this year and on my birthday, I knew I had to get it, but I am a little nervous going into it. It's definitely going to be different from her other releases. It's not gonna be as lighthearted and fun, I think. I mean, she has a little bit of a disclaimer at the beginning. So this one is about two people who they both work for rival companies, I believe. So Rue, the female main character, she works as a biotech engineer at this company called Klein. And the male main character, Eli, he and his business partners want to like buy out Klein. There's some rivalry going on there, but they are having an affair. So I know that this book is gonna be very steamy because it's gonna be about like their physical relationship. So one thing about that, I don't mind spice at all. Like I'll read it. I don't like if it's like the whole story, so I'm a little nervous about that, but Ali Hazelwood can write chemistry and the building of a relationship pretty well, so I think I could still like it. I'm intrigued to see how this one goes, because even in the beginning, she has this little disclaimer, and I'll read it to you. Dear reader, I just wanted to drop a quick note to let you know that Not in Love is tonally a little different from the works I've published in the past. Rue and Eli have dealt with, and still deal with, the fallout from issues such as grief, food insecurity, and child neglect. They're eager to make a connection, but are not sure how to go about it except through a physical relationship. The result is, I think, less of a rom-com and more of an erotic romance. Rue and Eli's story has, of course, a happily ever after, but it also contains some serious themes, and I wanted to give you a heads up so you know what to expect. Love, Ali. The words erotic romance is what like kind of holds me back a little, because I'm fine with it being a little bit more of an emotional or darker romance, just like a deeper, like not light and fun, like a heavier romance. But erotic romance just sounds like it's just the smut. I'm definitely interested to see where this goes. It's not a long one, but I don't know if I'll love it as much as I loved like Love Theoretically. The next book that I got is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. This is the first book in a very, very popular YA fantasy series. I think it's like high YA fantasy. I've known about it for years. I've wanted to read it for years. And when I saw these new covers a couple weeks ago in a Barnes & Noble one day, at first I wasn't sure if I was into it, but the more I've seen them, the more I've really, really loved how bright and like eye-catching they are. They're just, I think they're very, very cool. And these are like what the other covers look like. But this book, I've read the description a bit, so I might just read it to you quickly. Leia is a slave, Elias is a soldier, neither is free. Under the martial empire, defiance is met with death. Leia and her family do not challenge the empire. They've seen what happens to those who do. But when Leia's brother is arrested for treason, she is forced to make a decision. In exchange for help from rebels who promise to rescue her brother, she will risk her life to spy for them from within the empire's greatest military academy. There, Leia meets Elias, the school's finest soldier, and secretly its most unwilling. He and Leia, am I saying her name differently? He and Leia will soon realize that their destinies are intertwined and that their choices will change the fate of the empire itself. I feel like I said her name differently each time. I might not have. Anyway, I've known the premise of this series for a while and I've really been interested in getting into it. I just have never really sat down and gotten into it. I don't know, it's a 4-book fantasy series and I think YA fantasy is also a good place for me to like really strengthen my fantasy brain. I love fantasy and I love reading it, but still like really high adult fantasy is intimidating. So I want to get there and I want to read them still. I'm like pointing up there at my fantasy shelf. And this book has always sounded really interesting. I've known the premise before, but like reading it again, a military academy sounds really interesting. And I know that Elias is unhappy as a military like soldier. And I know it's dual perspective, like you get both of them. Next book that I got at this first Barnes & Noble, I'm super excited to get into. It's from an author I've never read before. Saboteur I've never read from before either, but it is, couldn't remember the title. The 5-Star Weekend by Ellen Hildebrand. I only recently started really looking into her books. I've been hearing about her for a bit and her name has seemed like so familiar to me because she has so many books. But I've recently been in like such a beach read kind of mood. Like I've really wanted like beachy, summery vibes. Obviously it's because summer's starting, but I really have just been craving those, especially after I read Nora Goes Off Script. And this one sounds really interesting. It's basically about this woman who, she and her husband get into an argument and he leaves for the airport, but then he's killed in a car accident and a lot of things in this woman's seemingly perfect life just start like crumbling down. And she hears about this thing called a 5-Star Weekend, so she decides to host one herself. She brings together all of her best friends throughout her life, from her teenage years, her 20s, her 30s, midlife, and this gathering becomes it's a lot of drama ensues. There's just like a lot of mingling of different personalities and different kinds of people and animosity between people that seems so interesting. And I've just heard really great things about Ellen Hildebrand, and this and 2 other books. Oh, I think I showed that. This and 2 other books people recommended as her first to get into her books because she has so many, and all of them are based in Nantucket for the most part, I believe. So people recommend this and 2 others. So I was looking at all of them and something about this premise really captivated me. So that's why I picked this one up. I've just heard that her stories follow like a whole cast of characters and you get to know them all pretty deeply and everything ties together in the end why you're following all of them. And I'm really excited to get into her books. I think this is gonna be such a fun summer read to read on the beach. And spoilers, I got another Ellen Hildebrand. Yeah, I went to another Barnes & Noble, which is like one of the new ones. 28 Summers, one of the other books that I was looking at, ended up having the buy one get one 50% off sticker. This one is about a woman who is on her deathbed and she sends her son to contact this man named Jake McLeod, and he's like, why are you, I didn't even know you two knew each other. But it turns out way back in 1993, Mallory, the woman who's dying, she and Jake meet at this party that she threw for her brother, and they make this pact to meet up every single summer for 28 summers. I don't know if they make the pact for 28 summers, but it ends up going on for 28 summers where they have a week-long affair. 1 weekend per year affair. That sounds so interesting to me, and I'm just like so interested to see what these characters are like. This one being buy one get one, and me looking at the premise again, I was like, no, I want to read this one. I want to read this one too. So I'm really excited to get into some Ellen Hildebrand this summer. I think this is gonna be so fun. Next book I actually got at the first Barnes & Noble, I just forgot, and that is Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This is her YA romance release that came out last year, and since I've already read 2 Ali Hazelwood books this year, I've just been more interested in getting into her books. And this one, for some reason, has been calling to me more recently than it had when I first heard about it. It's just about this girl who is like a prodigy in chess, but she stops playing, I believe, when her dad dies. One day she plays in a tournament with a guy who's known as like the King Killer. He's a notorious chess player, but she destroys him in it. A romance happens between them, so it's like this chess rivalry that becomes a romance, and it just sounds really fun and sweet. Even though it was YA, that's kind of what held me back, especially because Ali Hazelwood is such like a smut writer that I was really curious how she would do YA, but I've heard good things about it, and it's between an 18 and a 20-year-old, so it's still like, it's more like new adult. I'm really excited to get into this. I feel like this would just be a really light, easy read. Her books are just very propulsive, like very easy to read, and I have been enjoying them more and more, and she's really just become an author that I really like returning to. Okay, this last book, I actually wasn't sure if I was going to buy it just because it's hardcover. I didn't want to spend $30 on a book, but it is the last new release for my birthday, and seeing it in person, I was like, no, I really want it. It is a horror movie by Paul Tremblay. This book First of all, this book is gorgeous. I'm obsessed with this look. I knew when I saw it in person, I would be like, nope, I need to snatch it up. But I didn't know that it would be because of this. And, oh, I have bookmarks in there. And because of this is amazing. This is a marked up screenplay. Let me tell you what this book's about. This book is about a horror movie that was filmed in 1993 called Horror Movie. A disturbing art house horror flick, but only 3 of the film scenes were ever released to the public because of a bunch of bizarre events that happened during filming, and there's only 1 surviving cast member now in present day, and Hollywood wants to make a big budget reboot. This man, who is the only surviving cast member, still decides to help remake the film, even though it's bringing up all the memories of the secrets from the original screenplay, the bizarre events of the filming, and the dangerous cross lines on set that resulted in tragedy. It says here, Horror Movie is an obsessive, psychologically chilling, and suspenseful feat of storytelling genius that builds inexorably to an unforgettable, mind-bending conclusion. This is so up my alley, but like not really stuff that I read in books regularly. I have read one Paul Tremblay book last year. It was The Cabin at the End of the World, and I ended up really enjoying it. I really liked his writing. I thought the premise was so interesting, and his writing was really gruesome, which I think really helped the horror setting. I don't read a lot of horror. I watch horror movies. I love horror movies. I'm a spooky Halloweeny girl, and when I saw that Paul Tremblay's new book was coming out on my birthday and this was the premise, I knew I had to read it. I just wasn't sure if I was gonna buy it. So even though it was $30, I got the 10% off discount. Even though it was $27, I had to buy it. I just had to, especially this Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. These end papers are gorgeous. I'm obsessed. That is all of the books that I got today. Let me show them off. I ended up getting 6 books today, and they're all books that I'm really excited to get to. I know that these are 2 that I want to read this summer. These are 2 that I'll probably get to fairly soon, and these are 2 that I do really want to get to soon. I don't know if I'm gonna wait for like fall for Horror Movie. Honestly, it kind of seems like a summer horror story, like a summer horror flick, but in a book. I might get to it soon. We'll see. And An Ember in the Ashes, I also want to read soon. Let me know what you think of these books. Let me know if you've read these. Obviously, this is new and this is new. People have probably read some arcs, but okay, thanks for chopping my head off, Happy Hazelwood. I'm so excited to get to all of these. And I think it was a good haul. I don't like buying too many books at a time, but these are all like, these are all books that I really want to read. Thank you so much for watching. And again, thank you guys so much for like all of the new people here. It's so fun and exciting to see everyone. It's motivating me to put even more work in. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Stay here. I love you all, for real. Bye!